Hi everybody. My presentation is called An Introduction to Schlock, Movies to Punish Your Friends With. In this presentation, we're going to be talking about what schlock is, as well as spotlighting some of my favorite schlock genres. It's basically a big excuse for me to talk about all the dumb crap I like for 15 minutes. Oh, it's the down button. What is schlock? According to the Oxford English Dictionary, schlock is cheap, shoddy, or inferior quality goods or material, junk, rubbish. According to some guy on Reddit, who I am not going to properly cite, schlock is the disconnect between the logical and emotional parts of your brain. When a movie is objectively stupid, immature, or nonsensical, but you enjoy it anyway, you call it schlock. Now you may be wondering, what's the difference between a schlock movie and a B movie? What's the difference between a B movie and a cult movie? What's the difference between a cult movie and an exploitation movie? What's the difference between liking something ironically and just liking it? Well, I think when it comes to defining schlock, it's better to go with a more visual example. So when the woman with no pants on gets her head blown up by the robot, that's schlock. Let's go with one more visual example just to really drive the point home. You'll like where this is going, trust me. Watching a movie and that happens, that's schlock. So to be clear, schlock is not about being meta. Schlock is not about winking at the audience about how clever and in the know you are. Okay? Schlock is not about staring directly into the camera like your office gym because you're so normal and attractive and in the know. Schlock is about watching movies where ninjas do ninja shit. Schlock is about dolls coming to life and killing you, the more the better. Schlock is about when your new yoga instructor turns out to be a psycho. It's a Lifetime original. Quick word about The Room. A lot of you have probably seen this one, or at least seen the pointless James Franco version. It's worth watching, but it's a lot of this. I mean, this happens like 3 times in the movie, and they reuse the footage like twice. If you take away one thing from this presentation, is that if you want to sit down and watch a shitty what the fuck kind of movie with your friends, just watch Troll 2. I mean, unless you really like her boobs and Tommy Wiseau's ass. Alright, let's move on to our first schlock genre spotlight. A genre that obviously got its start in the mid-70s in the rush to rip off Jaws. Primary characteristic of these movies is obviously the big animal eating people. However, it does not need to be a shark. It could be a gator, it could be orcas, it could be an octopus, it could be piranhas like that ass. However, Jawsploitation is not limited to water. You can have Jawsploitation with a grizzly, with dogs, with David McCallum. You could have a big fucking white buffalo. That one's got Charles Bronson, pretty cool. Or you could do what this next movie does. They're coming. Oh my God, they're fucking adorable! That one's called Night of the Lepus. That's an early 70s movie about big killer bunnies. Really cool. The other element to jawsploitation is always the beaches stay open. There's always some local authority figure who's trying to cover up the animal murders for some reason pertaining to the local economy. Doesn't matter how many little kids get eaten, those beaches stay open. I'd like to end this section with a brief clip from one of my favorite shitty shark movies. This is the scene where the two main characters are finishing up after a long day of shark hunting.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too, but you know, I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat your pussy?
Alright, next up we got martial arts film. Alright, now first off, before I want to be clear that I am not assigning schlock to all martial arts films. Okay, not all martial arts movies are schlock. If you watch the Ip Man movies, it's basically about like what if Mr. Rogers could spin kick you in the face, but only if you ask really nicely. Martial arts movies come from a wide variety of styles, time periods, and countries of origin. You got movies that takes place in ancient Japan. They call wuxia. They typically focus more on swordplay and ki powers and generational heroism and shit. And then you have a true martial arts schlock film, in my opinion, like the Street Fighter, Japanese early 70s movie with Sonny Chiba, the GOAT. And it's mostly about people getting punched in the head as hard as possible. Primarily about beating ass and snap zooms. That's right. You've seen Tarantino do it a million times, and it came from this genre. Also, all those damn Italian movies. Movies typically end 5 seconds after the bad guy dies. There is no such thing as a falling action in a martial arts film. I'd like to spotlight The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. This was a 70s collaboration between the British Hammer Horror Company and the Hong Kong Shaw Brothers. They did a movie where Peter Cushing, horror icon, before he was brought back as a horrific CGI ghoul by Disney, which they are currently being sued for. Good. And he teams up with Chinese martial artists to fight vampires. Now, if you look closely, you'll be able to see where Peter Cushing appears to fall into an open flame. There you go. You see that shit? I just left that in. I'm also a big fan of Thrilling Bloody Sword. This is a Taiwanese 1980s, early 80s film. It's about the prince there. It's also a loose adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm not making that up. You can see them pictured there, gathered around the egg that Snow White will eventually emerge from because, of course, she's from space. The villain in that movie is this really hot sorceress who kind of looks like my ex. That's cool. The main character gets turned into a bear for like 15 minutes at one point. That's pretty fun. They meet all kinds of iconic characters like this genie whose head is an ass, even though I kind of cut it off. He fights all kinds of monsters like dragons and a giant pair of novelty chattering teeth, among other things. It's a pretty cool movie. The last martial arts movie I want to talk about is The Crippled Avengers. I didn't write the title, don't email me. This movie is about this crime boss in ancient China. It could be considered a wuxia film. This crime boss will, if you cross the hill, cripple you, right? So they remove one guy's arms at the elbow. They remove another guy's leg at the knee. They blind a dude. They box the guy's ears in and make him deaf. I should have brought that slide up earlier. They take one guy and they hit him in the head so hard he becomes like a 4-year-old. Your mileage may vary with how problematic this film is, but unfortunately I have to see and I think it's cool. Let's do the next Schlock genre. artist known as Meatloaf was born marginally a day in 1947. According to his father, he was born looking like a round chuck. He was bright red and stayed that way for days. In the early 70s, he intentionally gained 60 pounds to dodge the Vietnam draft. Very cool. Sold over 100 million records worldwide. Some of his greatest hits include Paradise by the Dashboard Light and I'll Do Anything for Love and Won't Do That. This guy's music is pretty alright, but a lot of people don't know that he had a mildly prolific film career. His film accomplishments include he was an OG Rocky Horror Picture Show cast member, he was in the stage show and the movie. He had bitch tits in Fight Club, probably his most famous role. He failed to catch a Yeti in the movie To Catch a Yeti. Yeah, the less said about that one, the better. He drove the Spice Bus in the Spice World movie. What a king. And my favorite Meatloaf cinema moment was when he fought a car in the movie Americathon. Meatloaf died a couple of years ago, RIP to a Schlock legend. Well, let's move on to our last Schlock genre spotlight. See if you can guess what kind of movie this is.
Excuse me.
You're not going to the bathroom.
Oh, this isn't the restaurant?
You're coming with me.
Oh, you know.
Look, I'm not sure what kind of government-sponsored work program you're part of, but how was that?
It's a gun.
That's right, it's fucked up rom-coms. That was a clip from the movie Holiday in Handcuffs, a movie where Melissa Joan Hart is so pressured by her family to not be single that she takes a dude at gunpoint to take over Christmas. Of course, they fall in love. Any good fucked up rom-com has toxic behavior treated as desirable. At the end of this movie, he actually kidnaps her as a romantic gesture. Very cool. A lot of those fucked up rom-coms are indistinguishable from a stalker film aside from the lighting and music. Usually a hopeless sad sack / gay friend, although not usually both. This happens in good rom-coms too, but the bad ones really lean into it. I'd like to talk about The Ugly Truth. Just to note that it is generally fucked up. Probably the most hateful rom-com I've ever seen. Hateful to both sexes equally. Katherine Heigl is a control freak, stuck-up bitch, and Gerard Butler is a sex-crazed pig. And the plot twist is, she's into that. Movie written by 3 women, by the way. The last one I want to talk about is My Santa. Anybody ever seen this shit? This is, I don't even remember if this is a Hallmark movie or what, but this movie is about the guy is the real-life son of Santa Claus, and he descends on a small American town with the explicit purpose of finding a wife. He doesn't find a wife, he loses his Santa Claus powers, which includes Jedi mind tricks. He Jedi mind tricks somebody to get a job as a mall Santa, and he also Jedi mind tricks the female lead when he tries to sell them a Christmas tree and use it to get to their house.
I can deliver it for you, too.
Oh, no, that's okay. Well, okay.
I'm pretty sure I've read that Stephen King story. Folks, that's all the time that I got. In conclusion, just because something is easily mocked doesn't mean it's not worth your time. Unless it's My Santa, that shit is garbage. But yeah, if you want to stick around. We're doing Schlock at 9. We're going to watch early 90s Hong Kong Splatterfest martial arts movie and make jokes. It's going to be sweet. Thank you. Good night.